Okay.
Go Uma.
Yeah, hello everyone. Today we are here to talk about our meeting number 2. So the meeting topic has we have selected is like pros and cons of the educational tools used in the workplace simulation sessions. So are you guys cooperating today with me?
Yep.
Yeah, that's great. And give me a second. So what do you think about before we start in the meeting? What do you think about um, workplace simulation activities which we use in our classes?
I feel that, in my opinion, because of how our classes has been structured, we sort of like see two different approach to workplace simulation. One by Aaron, another one by Alan.
Yeah.
Aaron give us a sort of like more flexibility in terms of which workplace simulation that we want to choose and how we're going to tackle that. Whereas
Yeah.
Alan approach is more towards, you know what, you should do like this, like a very specific target, but also more strict in the sense that like he give us what his expectation is, and it is up to us to sort of like meet those sort of expectation. Like both is different style, but I think depending on the style that we should be discussing, I think it changes a lot in my opinion.
Yeah, and I also like to add because Aaron, like I'm not comparing like our trainers, but like when it comes to like our choice, so we always try to select like less hours and less capacity.
Correct.
But so
I agree with that statement.
that won't make us like more competent enough to the like corporate market, like. But when it comes to Al, like he's giving us like particular sessions, so I think it is good though because he's having like one beginning, one advanced, and one intermediate. So in that case, like I think it is a good thing. Like it make us more competent enough to the corporate market. Yeah.
Yep. Yes, I do agree, but at the same time, at the end of the day, in terms of submitting the assignment wise, because of the level of complexity of it, like it will take time, and
Yeah.
from someone who sort of like
We all are like working every day, so we have.
correct. That's exactly what I was about to mention. From someone who works 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, every single day, we don't have the necessary mental capacity all the time to actually do the assignment like 100%. So it sort of like affected our day-to-day life. But I do agree with you in the sense that yes, it does help us a lot, especially in terms of the long run. Right?
Yeah. Yeah. What do you think, Chen?
From my point of view, I think they are both deliver good teaching, and it really depends on the topic we are doing. Like for some specific topic, we need to do more report things, we need to do more assessment to achieve the goal. But for some easy topic, we may just do some role play, and that's the easy part. Yes, I think should be considered from different level. I mean, regarding the different topic. Yes, it should be. Yeah.
Yeah. So I would like to give an introduction, like what is workplace simulation. So I got one introduction from internet. So it says workplace simulation is a modern trend and high demand in most companies in nowadays. So this creates a virtual event and environment to be experienced by a learner. So that makes sense, like because in a workplace, like if we having like if we going to do the trainings and everything by like with the mentorship, like if we going to do like most of the workplace simulation by our own, so it is a good demand in for our side in the corporate market, I think, because workplace simulation activities, like in nowadays, like most companies are like following. So in a sense, like to make more more confident in the, like to get more confident from the employees. So I think it is a good thing for the companies as well.
But do you think that from a company perspective, they will look into like the workplace simulation that we do, or is it more on the student side, sort of like to get used to the? That's why it's called workplace simulation, right? To get used to the
Yeah.
workplace inside the Australian culture in itself. Like, would it be more important for the company, or do you think it'd be more important for the student?
I think it is more important for, like, I think it is parallel, because 50-50, yeah. So if the students are more competent with these workplace simulation activities, like when it comes to, like, because we are doing like our PY, and during this time, like if we are like get in touch with these workplace simulation activities, so it is easy for us to like perform in the corporate market. So from our wise, from a student wise, it is a good thing, and also from the company wise, it is a good thing for them, because they need like less effort to train us, because we already know most of the things like workplace simulation activities via that, like about the Australian workplace culture. So I think it is a good thing. These educational tools are like good to the like companies as well. Yeah.
Do you think, from a student perspective wise, as someone who, in terms of employability wise, do you think someone who have done workplace simulation are more employable comparison to someone who have not done workplace simulation?
Yeah, I think it is still like understandable to anybody like who did not do the like workplace simulation activities, when comparing to the person who done the workplace simulation activities. So I think like if because the students like us like going to be more highlighted in the market, I think, from my perspective. Yeah.
Okay, sounds good.
And what do you think, Chen?
Yes, I do believe like work simulation can. I cannot say it can like give us a really comprehensive image of the workplace. Yeah, it's just
Alright.
a simulation. Yeah, that's the first thing we need to clarify.
Yep,
And
understood.
secondly, work simulation definitely is a great tool for us to get into the workforce. Because from my point of view, as the work simulation we have done in the professional year program, I do believe there are some. It include very important aspects of workplace. Yeah, so it definitely will help us to to better understand the workplace and how can we cooperate in the workplace.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So, and also like I have highlighted um, some of the. Give me a second. Yeah. So I have highlighted some types of the educational tools which the companies use nowadays. So one can be visual, live and blended simulation, and second one is instructional simulation, software simulation, and also enterprise simulation and immersive simulation. So when it comes to those things, so nowadays companies are more like uh, they having like more detail for these things when it comes to the workplace simulation activities, especially for the software simulation, because nowadays like almost all the companies run on the softwares, depending on the software. So like if the companies like Navitas and the places where they do the professional year programs, they can more focus on these sectors, because we are the people going to get the going to work in the workplaces like nearly once we finish our programs and everything. So if Navitas and professional year program companies can focus on these things, so it's going to be a more advantage for us. So yeah. But
I don't know. I have a mixed feeling about workplace simulation. I feel like at the end of the day, it highly dependent upon how, like I said, like because of our situation, we sort of like experience sort of like the both world of workplace simulation. A, the independent side, B, a more sort of like detailed side. I guess ultimately, if you put it in a broader perspective wise, does workplace simulation, does it really simulate the day-to-day workplace, right? Because based on my experience, if let's say we compare to say the workplace experience that we have here compared to the job that I'm doing, it's 100% different. I've never done like the workplace simulation that we do here in my current job as an engineer right now, right? I think that's how I personally feel about it, but I don't know, like, what do you guys think?
Yeah, because these things are more like theoretical side, because it is,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
not like more practical wise. So I think, but we can get some details from them, like once we doing the like, because I feel like it's all about like making our confidence level, like if we, because the Australian culture or any of the like corporate sector, if we going to go for the like very first time, it's like all the people going to be like different, and most of the time like they are more experienced people, and they having like good experience in the market. So before we going into the corporate sector, if we having like this kind of like interactive activities in the classes, so it's going to be a good thing for us, I think, to engage with those people. What do you think, Shan?
Yeah, first of all, I would like to agree with Amir's point. Like, yeah, definitely, yeah, we don't do the same thing in the reality. I mean, yeah, yeah, like for some work simulation, but you know, you need to consider in the class we all come from different background. We all come from the different field. It's nearly impossible for Navita to design a work simulation really like related to our field, you know, because we got different people, different students here. So like Uma said, it's more like from the general side. Yes, like some common topic as we mentioned in the last meeting, like how do we do the customer service, like how do we understand understand our colleagues culture, yeah, if we are come from different background, yeah, that should be the main part. And it's also, although it's not very practical, I need to say it's not very practical, it's like more general, it's not detailed, yeah, but I need to admit it's very important for us to, you know, in the workplace.
Yeah. And for instance, I have like noticed like in during the workplace simulation activities, use education tools as Zoom, Linda, YouTube, LinkedIn, Google Docs, Google Drive, Dropbox, Canva, TED Talks, Wikipedia, Moodle, Vimo, Blogger, SlideShare, and SurveyMonkey. Sometimes, like before, to be honest, before coming to the classes, like some of the things that I mentioned, like I didn't know really, because we 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 need to, because we don't have like sense to learn about these some of these things, because I never heard of Canva or some sort of thing. Yeah, so I think it's a good thing. Like if because I came to Navitas, or if I go to any other professional body, so then only like I just get used with those things. Like before we going into the like workplace or workplaces, so it's going to be a like good advantage. Yeah, I believe that.
Yeah, that's a fair point to make, to be honest.
Yeah.
Mm.
Do you have anything to add up, or?
Mm. No, I think we covered most
we
of the
can.
stuff. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do we come to the next part?
Yeah. So then let's talk about the pros in the workplace simulation activities.
Mm-hmm.
So to be honest, like I've noticed, like there are like plenty of pros in the workplace simulation activities, like because we just get used to know like how to deal with the situations, and like how to handle the people, like when we having like group chats and Zoom interviews or anything, like we know like how to do, like how to talk, and like how to behave on in front of the other people. Like I feel like it's rather than a like I'm sitting with rather than a classmate. I believe like I'm sitting with a like industrial person, like a corporate person. So then only like these activities going to be more effective.
So
So they
do you just
flexible.
suggest that for Navita student to communicate more with the industry? Is that what you're suggesting?
Pardon?
Are you suggesting that in the workplace simulation we should have more sort of like those people who are already working in the industry to be a part of it, rather than just talking to between the
Yeah,
classmates?
I wish if we have like real industrial people, but in our case, like we all are like in the same levels. Like we are in different sectors, like engineering, accounting, and IT. So at least I think like I'm sitting with not a classmate. I'm sitting with like a person who in the corporate sector. So then only like you having a feeling like, so you having a feeling like we should do this in a like very professional manner. So I think it is a good advantage. And also like these workplace simulation activities are most of the time like very flexible, because like it because according to the like assessment criteria, like they have given us like how do we need to like, is there anything wrong?
No, it's just keep going.
So yeah, I think it's more flexible for us, I think. Yeah. What?
I don't think it's flexible. I think the word that I would choose to describe rather is variable. Like I said, I think we've agreed on this previously, that depending on who is our sort of like lecturer or tutor on a particular time, we will do different things. So yeah, like I don't know, I understand you're coming from in the sense that sure, it does give us sort of like a variety of tasks that use a variety of different software, right? But at the end of the day, I don't know, is it like, since we are sort of like of a different background, does a workplace simulation that target generally is better in comparison to a workplace simulation that target sort of like each and individual sort of like I would say occupation, like engineers would have like one workplace simulation that would deal mainly on the technical or accounting or IT or whatever. What do you guys think about that? So essentially, to summarize my question is the fact that should workplace simulation be catered to more technical rather than to more soft skill, or do you think that vice versa, that a soft skill will be better more than technical wise?
I believe like if the workplace simulation activities can more focus on the soft skills, and if we can like more focus on the softer skills and rather than the like technical skills, so I think that would be great. Because we already have in like technical background like in each sector, like because you guys from engineering sector and I'm from accounting, so I know like what are the technical things in my side, and so because we are lacking with most of the time like soft skills, I think so.
That being the case,
soft skills, so I think it would be great.
That being the case, do you think that the current workplace simulation sort of like cater to the soft skill? The current workplace simulation experience that we have, does it cater to that, or does it need more improvement upon?
I think it's I think they need to have like some sort of improvement, because like we're just trying to like finish the things like in a technical manner, like rather than improving our soft skills. Like soft skills, like when we like interacting with the people and when we just engaging with them, like sharing things, I think that makes our more soft skills inside us. So I think because I've noticed like all of the people, like we just trying to like finish this task and we just trying to go to and get the signatures. So rather than doing like if we can have like more conversational like things, so I think that would be great.
I agree with Uma, and we have to admit that we cannot improve our technical skill in the class. Because data is not in our field, right?
Either we can do those things.
Should be happen on the university.
Because we have a limited time to like interact with all the people in the class. So
because this the main purpose of this program or this work simulation is to get us a job. Regarding the job, software is also a very important aspect. When customer consider us. I can say it may be more important than technical skill. I mean, in some specific roles. So I do believe like the work simulation should more focus on the soft skill teaching.
And also I would believe like it has like another process as if I say capacity and the consistency, because we are like human beings and we are more likely to do like errors at any time. So but in the sense like when we having like more workplace simulation activities in the classes and the educational tools that we are using, so in this stage like we can do mistakes and we can understand like what is a mistake, and we can get some some things to like recover those things. So in that sense I think it is a good thing like when we have in workplace simulation activities, because that correct us ourselves before going into the like workplace culture. What do you think? Maybe you can add your opinion like rather than depending on mine.
To me, when you say that okay, when we can make, I think I do agree that workplace simulation wise, it is more on the communication aspect, it's more on the soft skill side. Yeah, yes, but at the same time, I don't know. I just as a simulation, it does not really reflect of how I've experienced it. I think that's the only thing that I could add to it, mainly because I think, look, I understand that it's important to improve our communication skill 100%, right? That is definitely something that we should all improve upon. But at the same time, the purpose of this simulation, workplace simulation, is to simulate the kind of workplace that we're going to go into as much as possible. And after that, based on my experience at the very least, if let's say the thing that I do is say like 100%, the workplace simulation could only cover say 10% out of the 100%. So at the end of the question, then is it really important? Does workplace simulation is necessary, like to improve our communication, or is there any better way sort of like we can sort of like use to replace the workplace simulation? I mean, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And what do you think about the cost effectiveness of that?
Well, when you say cost effective, could you elaborate more on what do you mean
Yeah,
by the cost
we don't
effectiveness
know
of the?
this
Yeah.
term.
Yeah. So, like, because these workplace simulation activities, like we do in our classes and we do it by our own, like for a company wise, like for the company doesn't need to pay for a trainer, or like, because we are going with more experience, and because we just get used to these activities and the like softwares and everything before we get into the like workplaces. So in that sense, it is a cost effective for the company wise, because they don't need to invest for the training purposes more of the money. So yeah, I
But
think
wouldn't that defeat wouldn't defeat the cost though? Mainly because workplace simulation should cater to the student. Therefore, the student are the one who should get benefited the most. Being cost effective does not necessarily translate it to a student who have a better progress, who have better understanding of the workplace itself. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
sure,
yeah,
on the Navita side, it is good to sort of like do this kind of thing, but ultimately, as a student of this program itself, would being cost effective is like good for us. You know what I mean? Because
yeah. I mean,
yeah.
just talking about the like uh, in this scenario, like I'm just talking about the company side. So companies doesn't need to like invest more money on the like training
Correct,
sector,
correct.
training side. Yeah, but in our side, like it is a good advantage for us because we are going to the market with some experience and with good understanding about the things and the technology.
Mm.
So yeah, unless like still it is a like cost for us because we paying money to here and we just getting the training and everything. So but before going into the market, so it is a good advantage, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, like yeah.
Is it though?
Yeah, yeah. I'm not sure it can be our advantage. You know, like when we were doing the interview, the company will not tend to ask you if you have finished work simulation.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But the only way we can show them is like our software, how we communicate, how we deliver our points. That's the only way we can like we can show like we have already attended the work simulation.
On
Mm,
on that note, then shouldn't workplace simulation cover? I mean, if the purpose of the workplace simulation is so that we could communicate better, shouldn't the workplace simulation then be more centered and focused around that rather than uh, like doing the a typical workplace simulation. You know what I mean? Like should we move towards more and more of like communication and sort of like soft skills, and not really emphasizing on the workplace wise, you know. So instead of doing workplace simulation, we should do a focus on soft skills rather. You know what I mean? Because I think we all agree the fact that ultimately workplace simulation does not cover really workplace. That's not really simulate.
Yes.
So therefore, if that's the case, isn't that like sort of defeat the purpose of having a workplace simulation? You know what I mean?
Yes. Let's go back to the question we discussed.
Sorry, off tangent just now.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is the time now?
12:14.
So yeah. So we have to finish this by 12:45. Yeah.
I think by
we start at 11:43, so we should be finished by 1 p.m. Yeah, 1 p.m.
Yeah, 1 p.m.
Oh, 1 p.m. Okay. Yeah, then let's talk about the cons, because I think, according to our conversation, I think we have more cons than
I was can I, before we go to the cons, I just wanted to know your opinion, Umar, on, do you really think that a workplace simulation is, in your honest opinion, is benefited to the student?
On my perspective, I think in maybe like 75% or 80%. So I think it is a good advantage for the students, because I feel like that make our more like confident. So in that sense, and also like because we like most of the like in each and every topic we having like workplace simulation activity session. So during that time, like we do Zoom, and we just having like group activities, and we just talk with different people, because when it came to Al, because he's just dividing the group according to like different people, like I like that, because we don't meet every day the same person, and we don't talk with the same person all the time. So we talking with different people, and sometimes they have in different languages, and sometimes their accent is different. So I think it is good, like that is making us like more engagement between the people. So yeah, it's a good thing. Yeah, I really recommend like up to 80% maybe. And there are like 20% places as well. So we will talk about that in later.
Yeah. Oh, about Daniel, what do you think? Do you think that workplace simulation benefited the student?
Yes. I might not give you a conclusion now, but I can say like for some specific topic, I do learn a lot. Like for example, for the customer service topic, because what the teacher told us is like when you serve your customer, you need to know what they need, right? It's kind of different from what they want. You just give them what they need. Yeah, it's kind of changed my mind, you know. Yeah, for this particular topic, I think just improve me a lot. Yeah, but I cannot say it's cost effectively, because cost is related to your time, your money. Yeah, money is expensive. Yeah. By the time, I mean, once a week, every day, once a week, 1 day a week. I mean, yeah, it's good for me. Like, yeah, good for me. Take each day, take 1 day out of a week to do the work simulation to improve my soft skill. I think it's worth. Yeah.
In terms of if like Umar said 70%, if you were to put sort of like a percentage, 80%, okay, 80%.
Yeah.
How much would you put?
It really depends on the student themselves. Like it depends on their attitude, as I mentioned before. Like if the student is really engaged in the program, definitely he will learn more than those who don't want to participate. You can finish all the tasks. You can finish all the assessment or simulation with I cannot say without with little communication with your student, with your classmates. Yeah.
Yep. So,
yes. It really depends on the way you choose. Yeah.
Yep. So ultimately,
you say.
Yeah. Ultimately, wouldn't you guys agree that the benefit of workplace simulation is very varied in a sense that it highly depending upon the student itself, and then secondly depending upon the sort of the lecturers, sort of like to give to give a more constructed version of the workplace simulation, and then give us the freedom to do whatever you wanted, right? So if that's the case, with that having that much of variability, do you think it will still be cost effectiveness?
Or
do you think that?
Yeah, it's like
it's very hard.
What do you want from this program? If you just want PowerPoint, it's cost effective. They take like 15,000. I mean, for engineering to get 5 points. For me, it's like it's effective.
So essentially, the cost effective of workplace simulation is highly dependent upon whether or not the student putting in the effort.
Your inspection.
Yeah, and as well as how well the lecturer sort of like take that workplace simulation to the next level and sort of like challenge us to think further. So that being the case, then if let's say Navitas are able to provide the environment for the student to be sort of like more able to change themselves, as well as the lecturer to be challenging the student, I think that would be beneficial. If that was the case, then I do believe that it is cost effective for the student. If however those criteria are not being met, then I personally believe that the workplace simulation is not cost effective. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, but from the long term, from the long term perspective, like the software is really, really important.
Yep, I understand. I agree. I 100% agree.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we can talk your part, like in the following part.
But before we going into the corporate sector, so if we think Amir going to the corporate sector and you getting more qualifications and everything, together with that you get in your PY and you learning things like how to be settled into the corporate sector, and you have to spend your time though, and you have to spend your money as well, so you have to invest to get your harvest. So I think it is a good thing though. If we don't do anything, if we don't invest anything, we can't get the outcome. If we go in with these qualifications and these skills, so we're going to be highlighted in the market among the other people.
My point is,
I think it is
important. Look, I 100% agree. But my point is the fact that in terms of, to me, the purpose of workplace simulation is to simulate the workplace, right? To me, at the very least, if you want to simulate a workplace, then an internship experience, the 3 months that we are having, is more valuable, right? In comparison to us simulating a workplace in a classroom. To me, the experience that we have on the corporate place or on the industry is slightly more valuable. It's definitely 100% more sort of like, if I were to say 10% workplace simulation, if you do an internship and then we go there in 3 months and experience it ourselves for the first hand, that would be closer to the reality, because it's the reality of a workplace rather than a simulation, right? So ultimately, I feel that it sort of defeat the purpose of having redundancy. You see what I mean? So that's to me where we can go into the cons of the workplace simulation, because part of our professional program is to have at the end of the internship of 3 months, is it then really necessary to have a simulation of a workplace when we are going to go into an internship where we are going to be in the workplace? So that is where sort of like the argument that I was trying to go inside, really, the discussion at the very least of what we're going to go inside. What do you guys think?
Yeah,
I agree.
I agree with
Yeah.
Yeah, but you know, like, I agree with your point. Like the internship we will do for 3 months is more close to the reality, close to the real workplace. But before we doing that, we need to do the preparation. Yeah, if that's a part, that's the work we did in that stage before the internship. We do the preparation. Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah.
Then shall we talk about the cons now?
Yep.
Yeah. Sure.
So according to this conversation, I believe like there are more cons and like yeah, I have highlighted like there are some cons in the infrastructure because sometimes like because we don't have like much infrastructure in sometimes I believe like because all the day like we have to get our computers to the classes and like if we have like because sometimes it's because we are traveling by like trains or public transport like every day like we have to carry these laptops and everything to the classes. So for an example I'm just telling, so if the classes have like the like kind of a lab or something to do these things like because we all doing like on Google Docs or something like that, we don't work on our like on Word documents or maybe in Microsoft or something like that. So in that case like if they have like some sort of labs or anything, so I think it would be great. What do you think in that example?
So you're saying that in terms of workplace simulation wise, Navitas should provide each and individual student with sort of like a desktop or a laptop.
This is a university, like this is a professional services center, so they should at least have like at least have a lab, like a computer lab or something. So where we yes.
Wait, that would not be cost effective though.
yeah, that will be not cost effective.
because ultimately, right, if you think about the enrollment wise, if let's say there's 20 students per class, and there's like say 3 classes per day, or you would have to have at least 60 computer, and then you have to times that by the amount of weeks that you have professionally in your class, as well as any other class, and then you have to times it by the amount of the year.
Yeah, because like Sundays we have less classes. Like I'm just talking about Sunday classes only. Yeah. So because Sundays we having only like because in each level like there is only one class though. So if they can provide like computer lab for each level, so that's not going to be hard for anybody, I think.
I will play the devil advocate in a sense that sorry.
From my point of view, it might be better if we can bring our own laptop. Because for my personal experience, I kind of like I prefer to use my computer, my Mac, because I'm more familiar with Mac OS. You know. Yeah.
Also, can I bring another?
Yeah, sure.
For example, like part of our workplace simulation is to go outside and have a coffee meeting, for example, right? And we have to record it. It is really hard for us to go on a desktop.
We have phones and everything, so we can use them as well. So if we're going outside.
Yeah, I'm just saying like, because it would not be possible. I mean, as a student, on the perspective side, I would have 100% agree with you. Right? They should provide
it's really hard to carry all the day that know, it's hard
Yeah.
because yeah.
But ultimately, though, if you work in a company, if you think workplace simulation perspective, if you're in a small to medium company, you will not have, like, people will not give you your own laptop, or people will not give you your own desktop. So I guess in that sense, it is a simulation of a workplace because we have to use our own laptop. So that's what I think. I'm just trying to be a devil advocate here. So I don't know. Yeah, but I do agree with Umar though. If definitely if there's a better structure where the
Yeah,
students are
sure.
able to have their own, like, sort of like a personal like a laptop or like a computer lab or whatever, it does will make up the quality of life of student in Navitas much better. But ultimately, it does come to cost, and ultimately, would it be viable in comparison to, like, the benefit that would give to the student? I don't personally think it would be able to do so. That's my opinion at the very least.
I wish they can reduce the tuition fee rather than build that road.
So guys, my battery is about to die. Just give me 1 minute and a half. I'll come
Yeah,
back.
sure.
You guys can discuss further. I'm just going to touch my battery.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're going to continue or we're going to
So,
pause it?
we just wait for him like 1 minute because it's 12:30 now. We still need got a half hour to go.
Oh, another half an hour. Yeah.
We wait for you. I wait for you outside.
Another half an hour.
Nah, he's back.
Yeah.
Done.
Yeah. So, and also I think like if these workplace simulation activities can be more like effective in the sense of like delivering the messages to the students, because if the program the workplace and simulation activities are not effective, so it's going to be like convey like less what do you say, it's going to be less convenient for the students. So what do you think about that?
Can you repeat again? Last word.
It should be like in a good into a good structure, and it should be very convenient to the students, because most of the students who doing the workplace simulation activities, like who are the people who like straight away came from the universities and all, like they don't have much, like some of the people doesn't have much experience in the workplaces as well. So I think it should be like more convenient for the student.
And how do you propose that we make it more convenient for the student?
I think maybe Navitas or some other company, like some other PY company, like they can do some what do you think, these things are surveys or something, like from those things like we can get to know like what are the like students like perspective, and like what are they like more needs and everything. So according to that, maybe they can build up like good structure for the PY programs.
Yep. But based on your personal experience wise, how do you feel that that workplace simulation should be more convenient for the student of Navitas?
Yeah, because this because sometimes this because I've done like some in the workplace simulation activities I've done in Canva, so it's more likely to have like it's not. I don't think it is more likely to have like professional workplace simulation activity. It's kind of a because we make it like some posters and everything. So I think if they can like make some more advanced activities than those things, so that would be good, I think.
Otherwise,
And what can you clarify on advance?
yeah, we don't.
Yeah, because I don't know, like for me, like Canva is like a basic thing. So because
Or
we
it's
just need some for me,
the basic thing for me.
that is my perception. Like I would recommend like if they can put more activities like for communication to build the communication perspective and to have like live chats and to do group activities and everything like rather than doing the individual assignments, so I think that would make like more soft skills in inside us. Yeah.
I do agree that we should focus more on doing activities that would improve our soft skill. But
Yeah.
ultimately, I've also would like to argue in the sense that making a poster or like Canvas, for example, right? It is a form of communication, whereas even though we never deal it on a day-to-day basis, but it is something that we've accounted on day-to-day life. Even like let's say for example, if you work in a factory or in a warehouse, if you don't have the proper poster or like it's a form of communication essentially. So to me, when I experience the canvas thing and when I have to think of in perspective of the designer or what do I want to communicate to the people who are going to see my poster, I think it's important to have that kind of like a mentality. It's the same as the mentality of customer service, right? If you just came in, if you think about it on the employee side, and you never, if you just go in on the customer side and never think about the employee side, then you would never get the hang of it. But once you're in their position, then you would be able to sort of like pick out these little things, I would say. So yeah, I don't know. It is a form of communication.
It all about like person, like it
Correct.
is all about like perception. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I do agree.
What do you think, Chan?
It's hard to right or wrong. I mean, regarding this problem, like I do agree. Like, for some report or for some individual task should be removed from the program, which I think is a waste of time. Like, but as Amir said, for the LinkedIn post, we may not do that if we are not asked. I mean, we will do that if we are not. Yeah, it's kind of experience your first try of this function, or how to build your network by posting your point. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely it's a good one, good individual one.
I think in my
yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Also to add, I was thinking something just now, but I forgot about it. Also something to add. I do understand. I mean, I do agree with Umar in the sense that like if you really want to improve on the soft skill, we should be more focused on it. And therefore, for the workplace simulation wise, instead of giving us sort of like 25 lists of things to do, rather than like then we can choose any of the 25, and like Umar said, we just put the 1 hour, the least amount of work possible. Instead of doing that, we should give sort of like a more focused sort of like workplace simulation whereby we can discuss in terms of communication wise, in terms of like presentation skill, in terms of all these other soft skills that we came here to improve upon. I think if you can just have like a few, like a 6 or 7 that are focused, sort of like workplace simulation, rather than like 25 of just something that is not really relevant. Or like, I think that would be a better way, sort of like, to do this workplace simulation, because as we all three was agreed, it does not really like simulate workplace as much in comparison to the internship itself. So I think that's where, because we wanted to make sure that this serve as a practice, we should have a more focused workplace simulation rather than a variation of it. What do you guys think?
Yeah, and I think like because because in the workplace simulation activities, like in each and because we have done like so far 4 topics. So yeah, so in each and every workplace simulation activity list, so they have like beginner task. So like most of them like for Canva, or like to do like slide share or something like that. Yeah. Yeah, I think like because we having like only 8 hours in here, like if we can more focus on like it's not 6 hours or 8 hours, 8 hours, yeah.
Yeah,
8 hours. Yeah, if we can have like more like group activities than the individual things, so because sometimes like we can do it by our own, like it just allocated for like 1 hour or 1.5 hours. So for to do those things like that actually takes us like maybe like less than 1 hour. Maybe we can do it like when we get our like whenever we get a time like in our home or something. And if the PY program like more focus on like group activities than the individual things, I think that would be a great thing, because when engaging with different people and different communication levels, so that making our like that make our like lives easier to become like more convenient for the workplaces, I think.
I also like to add, I do agree with Umar that I just want to add a few things to it, in the sense that I don't think the PY program should give like homework, or you know what I mean, like
Yes,
things
sometimes we don't have time. Yeah.
exactly.
Sorry,
And
you said you don't want the homework, or you want.
I don't want like we should have enough sufficient time to do the things that we need to do in the classroom itself from 9 to 5, like the 8 hours thing. Because to simulate workplace, technically speaking, in a Australian culture, we don't bring work home, so we should not be able to use, vice versa. So I think like personally experience, like if you could limit our sort of like have, make sure that the thing that we need to do concise between 9 to 5 on the class itself. I think that would be a great idea to have, to be honest.
And also I think like if we can have like more than 3 months for our internship, I think that would be great, because it's because we having like I think altogether 45 weeks, like from beginning to end of the internship as well. Like if we have, because we having more theoretical sessions in our PY program than the internship period, so they have limited it for like 3 months. But if they can limit it, like if they can increase for like maybe for 4 months, and just to giving us the theoretical things for like maybe for 2 months, I think that should be fine.
Sorry. 2 months. Which part? Which month? Increase 2 months. 2 months.
I mean, like, just if they can increase like internship to 4 months, I mean, like, because we're going to get like 3 months internship, and I would recommend like if they can give more workplace like, because we can do all these workplace simulation activities like out of the because out of the classes, like in the workplaces. And if we have like more time to do our internship, so I think that going to give a like more advantages. Yeah.
Long internship, right? Longer.
Yeah, less
Can I,
theoretical time.
can I add that a longer internship, because internship are normally unpaid, so a 4-month internship unpaid. You
Yeah,
have to think about the cost. You have to think about the cost of it, like for the student who have to go 4 months, and if let's say it's 5 days a week, and they have to go 4 months without getting paid, I think that is a harsh thing to do. To be honest with you.
yeah,
Maybe
yeah.
we can
Yes.
2 internships, each 3 months, each for 3 months, totally
Yeah.
6 months.
Oh, you guys
Because-
recommend only
We are
just
more
enough.
flexible.
Sorry.
You guys
I mean-
recommend only internship should be for 3 months.
I mean, he can each internship can have 3 months period, and Navitas can arrange us 2, so totally just 6 months, and it's more flexible.
That's too long. This guy has 6-month internship. I mean, unpaid internship.
Oh, you mean
Unpaid.
unpaid? Oh, no. We are not discussing. We are not discussing the pay.
Yeah, the unpaid is a problem, but in the sense of like to collecting the experience and everything, like
I think we are kind of
Yeah,
off the topic.
Yeah.
so
This is not.
if you
It's not
have a
related to
part
work question.
or maybe if you have a backup plan, so that would be great.
But this is not part of the workplace simulation, though. So,
We got 15 minutes left.
so shall we conclude this?
Yeah, and so what time are we supposed to finish? 12:45 or?
Oh, yep. Yeah. So we should just conclude everything, Umar, and then afterwards we can
I thought we need
get it done.
to finish like 1 o'clock.
Yes, it will end by 1 p.m. So it's
Yeah,
like
but
15
we need to
minutes to go. Yeah.
Yeah, but we got
Yeah.
10 to 15 minutes of conclusion. So
Yeah. and there is one more thing to add for cons, because sometimes people like students get some technical difficulties as well, like when we like doing our things in workplace simulation activities, like in the technical side, so we may have to face like some technical difficulties, so it is more likely to sometimes.
Can you give us an example of the technical difficulties?
Technical difficulties in the sense like, because sometimes for an example, like because sometimes for an example we'll say Zoom, so we may in different places, and sometimes like suddenly something like just going to like shut off or something. If the person like if the person is like not familiar with the technical things, so they can get into like troubles, like how to get in connect to this thing again or something like that. So for these things, like we need to get like technical support from our peers or some people like trainer or somebody. Yeah, nothing. Yeah.
I do agree.
Yeah, and like, so when we going for the conclusion, and we had like more disagreements in this meeting, and let's focus on the conclusion now. So I think like these educational tools used in the workplace simulation activities, and they have in like 50-50 pros and cons. I would think. So do you guys agree with that?
Yeah, I would say so. In my opinion, it's more 60-40, but
Yeah, like it has like pros and the same time cons as well. So yeah. However, like in most scenarios, like this is a good way of learning, and that will build more confidence in person, because like it makes us like to talk in front of people, and like when we like talk with different people in this class, and if we go out and we can talk with anybody, so that gives us good experience and then making us like good confident level. And also I think that, yeah, so what do you think?
Agree.
Yeah. And during this why are you laughing?
I just look at the meeting minute.
We have 10 minutes.
No, I just look at the meeting minute. Sorry.
Okay.
Okay. So yeah, I think during the learning time, and sometimes like new team members or employees can do mistakes, and like because rather than like to do these mistakes, it's better to get into these workplace simulation activities and get correct ourselves before we going into the like corporate sector, and before we doing a like big mistake for the corporate sector. Because like in the corporate sector it's all about like money. So if we do any single mistake, so that's going to be a big loss for them. So if we can cooperate with these workplace simulation activities at this time, and if we can try to more engage with the people and try to learn more things in this time, so I think it's going to be like solve most of the problems in our sides and for the company side as well. What do you think?
Yeah, agree.
I think it's a good summary of what we discussed about
Yeah.
the pros and the thing.
Yeah. Do you have anything to add, Chen?
You mean for the pros, what was that? For the advantage of the work simulation. Yeah, it first of all, it can build up our network, because at least 20 new people here in the class. Yeah, that's the first thing, and it also teach us a way how to prepare ourselves for interview. Like, yeah, how do we present you mean, I mean, like in the work simulation, it's really depends on the way you deliver yourself rather than the content. Maybe the content is same, but if you change the way, you change another way, the outcome will be really different. Yes, that should give me this like, yeah. And for what we discussed, yeah, it's like Uma said, it surely develop our soft skill, especially in communication skill. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what do you think? Do you have anything to add for the advantage? Amir?
Anything, Amir?
No, I'm pretty sure we discussed all the pros though, to be honest. I'm more of a cons guy.
Yeah. So it's good to discuss about these things, and that end of the day, like having a like good understanding about like these things. So yeah, I think it should be good. So I think it's all about that we need to talk in this meeting, and thank you guys for being with us.
How about the cons? Yeah, have you talked about the cons?
Pardon?
The summarize of the cons?
Oh, I thought we already talked about that.
Yeah, but so to summarize it, I think we should summarize the cons of the whole thing.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. If because we were just talking about the program structure, so we talk about program structure. Yeah. So if Navitas can make like good structure for the the PIVA program, like in the sense of workplace simulation activities, and if they can more focus on the like soft to build our soft skills, so I think that's going to be a good advantage for ourselves in the student perspective. Yeah. What do you think? You guys there?
Yeah,
I mean,
but
yeah.
yeah, nah, I'm just thinking about the cons that we were discussing. The cons is the fact that ultimately the workplace simulation does not really simulate a workplace. So to have a better workplace simulation, is the internship in itself. That's the start of the workplace simulation. Secondly, is the fact that the purpose of workplace simulation then should be more focused on communication. That's why Umar mentioned about having what's it called, a better group activities, right, so that we can present our communication clearly. That was another thing that was a great point as well. Ultimately, yeah. What do you think, Daniel?
I mean, it's like if the Navitas can allow us to choose, like which structure we prefer, it would be better. It's like, okay, if I like I need a more group activity. I don't want to do individual report. I don't want to write the report. Yeah, it should be offer this option for students, you know. Yeah, and for other students, maybe they prefer another way to learn, like say more like self learning, or say more like to individual part, because it is their weakness. So Navitas could also offer this option for this particular part of students. Yeah, I mean, it should be more option rather than just one class. Everyone get into one class. Yeah.
Yeah. And also like because we were just talking about the infrastructure as well, so I think they really need to have some sort of like good infrastructure to this program. I believe, in the student perspective, and also like if they have like some because not almost all the students are not technically qualified in the sense of like when we use in like the computers and everything. Like I'm just talking about those things. So if they can like give us some kind of a like idea about these technical things that we need to use in campus, or like if we have any difficulties, like to whom should we talk, or like kind of a forum or something, so that should be good. Yeah, what do you guys think about that?
Agreed. I agreed. Agreed. Anyway.
So we stop here.
Yeah, I think we should stop here.
Yeah, I think yeah, that's all about pros and cons. So yeah, modern process, there are so many cons. So yeah, be fine. So thanks for being in this meeting, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye bye.